Boom! The deafening sound spread across the entire dark realm, followed by the spherical corpse minister, who began to battle alongside the skeletal figure and the evil Xiao. Whoosh! Whoosh! After Xiao unleashed the black fiend star cage, countless dark fibers fell off his black-patterned sacred robe, quickly forming a massive star cage in the void. On the surface of the star cage, numerous black patterns spread out, emanating a special power from the netherworld. Damn it! Corpse Minister, what are you doing? Kill him! Seeing the corpse minister remain motionless, its gaze fixed on the black star cage, a sense of unease rose in the ferocious soul master's mind. This guy's strength in the netherworld is at the top of the ranks. He was originally captured by the ferocious soul master, who had to use the power of reincarnation to force Duan Qifei to enter the netherworld to bring him back. Fortunately, the ferocious soul master had many ways to control him, making him a true right-hand man. Yet now, the corpse minister remained still, even as the soul crystal controlling him shook violently. An ominous feeling spread. Master! A struggling cry echoed from within the spherical corpse minister, as its body stiffened. Hanging in midair, its eyes twitching uncontrollably. Despicable. Watching this, the evil Xiao snorted coldly, his gaze firmly fixed on the ferocious soul master. He raised his hand, releasing a desolate aura that surged through the void and struck toward the ferocious soul master. Buzz buzz. As Xiao made his move, the black fiend star cage, seemingly drawn by a force, shot toward the ferocious soul master like a meteor. Spatial compass, shift. Seeing the overwhelming binding power of the black fiend star cage, the ferocious soul master didn't dare to delay. He drew mysterious runes in the air with his hand. Swish! When the black fiend star cage arrived before the ferocious soul master, the void twisted and instantly swallowed it up. Silence returned to the area. Using special means to control the ruler of the netherworld. If the Nether King finds out, even 10 ferocious soul domains wouldn't withstand his wrath. The first clash temporarily ended. Evil Xiao spoke coldly, his tone dripping with clear warning. Bastard, get lost. Hearing Xiao words, the ferocious soul master waved his hand, dismissing the corpse minister. He knew that with Xiao actions, it wouldn't be long before the corpse minister would break free from his control and return to the netherworld. Struggling is meaningless now. One strike to settle this. After a brief pause, the ferocious soul master's hand glowed with a pink flame again. He spoke indifferently. He knew that dragging this out for too long would be disastrous for him. Just as I wanted. Hearing the ferocious soul master's words, evil Xiao smiled. The dark attribute on his body originally came from the netherworld. The ferocious soul master's recent actions were clearly self-destructive. However, if he wasn't using a dark attribute, facing the corpse minister would be a fierce battle. Come on. Looking at the defiant evil Xiao, the ferocious soul master chuckled. He laughed at Xiao and at Xiao Sansheng, who resided within Xiao body. This was his domain, and even though the dark realm covered it now, they would ultimately not be his match. Thunder. The ferocious soul master's gaze grew cold, and his finger pointed to the sky. Immediately, a gigantic beam of light shot up into the heavens. Instantly, the entire dark realm seemed to be drawn by some force, as countless bolts of lightning shattered the darkness above and covered the sky. At that moment, the once silent dark realm was filled with crackling thunder, igniting everything in its path. The thunder was a strange scarlet color, and it seemed that even a single strike could shatter the dark realm. Within this scarlet lightning, there was a power Xiao couldn't fully comprehend. It was the power of reincarnation. Without a doubt, although this scarlet thunder wasn't as powerful as the gray thunder of the Thunder Lord, it still posed a great threat to the current evil Xiao. Heart-piercing dark blade. Seeing this, evil Xiao grinned wickedly, his black-patterned sacred robe fluttering slightly. All the darkness in the dark realm retreated, flowing into the sacred robe. The desert landscape returned to its original state. The ferocious soul master stood high above the golden desert, his finger raised. Countless scarlet lightning bolts surrounded him. Once the attack was ready, he would unleash it, as if the very heavens would descend, cutting down everything in its path. Meanwhile, evil Xiao withdrew the dark realm. His black-patterned sacred robe began to move again, and black liquid poured out. On the black broken blade, there was no strange fluctuation, but on the blade's surface, a large character, Xiao, seemed to have been carefully carved by a true divine being, radiating an overwhelming evil power. It was this eerie calm that made Xun'er and the black fiend dragon wolf narrow their eyes. They knew that only a half-reincarnation expert could unleash such a level of fluctuation. "I wonder who will win," Xun'er said, her face tense, unable to stop herself from silently praying for Xiao. "Strange. Why are there so many powerful auras appearing?" The black fiend dragon wolf shook his head in helplessness. Thunder dance scorches the plains. A furious shout rang out, and with a snap of his fingers towards Xiao position, an unimaginable, terrifying aura was fully unleashed. The crimson thunder split the golden desert, sparks flying in all directions. All that could be seen was the crimson thunder dragon leaping down, directly striking the evil intention of Xiao. The speed of the crimson thunder dragon was incredibly fast, but just as it was about to strike, Xiao hand suddenly reached out, gripping the black broken blade. Slash! With a light command, the slash tore through the sky, and Xiao hand awkwardly lifted, sending the black broken blade flying with a beam of black light. The beam was filled with countless ancient runes, among them a prominent Xiao character. The crimson thunder dragon roared and charged straight at Xiao, instantly forcing him back into the desert. Within moments, a huge, bottomless pit appeared, and countless sand grains from the desert were swept up by the thunder. "Kill him!" Xiao roared again as the black fiend thunder dragon continued its assault. At that moment, Xiao, on the verge of defeat, erupted like a vicious beast. A black ray suddenly shot out from the desert pit, aiming straight for the master of ferocious souls in the sky. How could this be? At that moment, countless crimson thunders were shattered beneath the black blade's light, and a chilling aura of death filled the master of ferocious soul's heart. Not good. A sudden sense of unease swept over the master of ferocious souls. Just as he was about to brace himself, the black blade's light struck him, and in the blink of an eye, he was severely wounded. Gurgle. Just as the master of ferocious souls thought he was about to be severely injured once more, a pure, holy halo of light, like a divine being, shattered the black blade's light completely. The force was not of reincarnation, but it belonged to the power of light. The master of ferocious souls struggled to raise his head and saw a figure that could make all things pale in awe, gasping, "Light? The light demon? Cough, cough. The light demon?" The master of ferocious souls, gazing up at the figure bathed in the holy glow right before him, struggled to speak. At this moment, countless yellow sands from the desert's heart surged, and at the end of this massive sandstorm, a solitary, arrogant figure stood tall, looking down upon all living things. For some reason, the light demon held an extremely strong hatred toward him. Why had it suddenly appeared today? Moreover, this person had even saved him? Was the sun rising in the west today? Numerous questions filled the master of ferocious soul's mind. But what he didn't expect was that Xiao Sansheng, residing within Xiao body, was able to use Xiao power to unleash such formidable strength, resisting his strongest attack and nearly dealing him a fatal blow. The light demon? Seeing the sudden appearance of the light demon, the black fiend dragon wolf and Xun'er could not help but gasp. The light demon had already led an army to attack the ferocious soul domain for half a year. Although no one stronger than a 7-star Docian had made a move, it seemed like something was being plotted. However, that battle had caused widespread panic throughout the ferocious soul domain. Yet the leader of the demon guards, the light demon, had never appeared. Now the light demon had appeared, and even saved the master of ferocious souls from danger, making both of them wary. The master of ferocious souls was a domain master, and if he and the light demon teamed up, it would be the light demon. Xiao, just having climbed out of the deep pit in the desert, gazed coldly at the figure beside the Master of Ferocious Souls, his voice faint. The Master of Ferocious Souls' strength was beyond his imagination. Though he had broken through the Thunder's power and immediately wounded him, the sudden appearance of the Light Demon made Xiao heart sink. He was extremely weak now, and feared he would not be able to use the half-reincarnation power again. Fighting a Light Demon would be very difficult, especially since facing the full force of the Master of Ferocious Souls had already drained so much of his strength. Don't misunderstand, the Light Demon, gazing at Xiao and the others' astonished expressions, lightly nodded and casually spoke. Then what is this? I have an irreconcilable feud with the Master of Ferocious Souls. Only I can kill him. In the next moment, the Light Demon cast a gaze towards the Master of Ferocious Souls, and a voice, as thunderous as a celestial strike, reverberated. In an instant, the sandstorm did not cease. With the voice of the Light Demon, it roared violently, like an enraged hellhound. The colossal sandwave was suffocating. Light Demon, I have no grudges with you in the past, nor any enmity with you recently. Why must you summon the entire Demon Legion to attack my ferocious soul domain? Listening to the words of the Light Demon, the Master of Ferocious Souls remained unshaken and directly questioned. Ha ha ha. Master of Ferocious Souls, you truly have a poor memory. Do you still remember him? At that moment, the Light Demon tossed a delicate scroll at the Master of Ferocious Souls with her white hand. What is this? How could this be? At first, the Master of Ferocious Souls didn't understand, but as he looked at the domineering figure on the scroll, his expression changed in shock. The Light Demon, the wife of the Monster Emperor. I see now. After a moment, the Master of Ferocious Souls, as if realizing the truth, howled in madness. His expression fluctuated wildly, and he couldn't even look the Light Demon in the eye. That day, I saw you completely obliterate him. Today, I will use your life to honor him. Not long after, the Light Demon spoke coldly, her voice carrying a chilling murderous intent, sweeping outward. That is, evil Xiao and the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf stared at the mighty man on the scroll, their brows tightly furrowed. Monster Emperor? Master? The two spoke almost in unison. The scroll depicted a remarkably handsome man, his demeanor arrogant, his sharp features standing out. With hands behind his back, under his dark green sleeves, an overwhelming aura emanated, as though he stood above the heavens. Could it be? After a moment, the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf, as if recalling something, suddenly exclaimed in surprise. The Monster Emperor, as the sole ruler of the monster realm, had once taken a wife before being sealed by the combined forces of the three realms. After the Monster Emperor's sealing, his wife disappeared without a trace. However, the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf still remembered the Monster Emperor's instructions. He must find her, or else, after learning the truth, she might do something entirely unpredictable. Who would have thought the Light Demon was the Monster Emperor's wife? The Monster Emperor was secretly colluding with the extraterritorial evil clan. He deserved to die. Seeing the violent aura emanating from the Light Demon, the Master of Ferocious Souls slowly smiled. But what puzzled the Master of Ferocious Souls the most was that within the extraterritorial evil clan, most were evil beings who could never possess light-based powers. Yet the power within the Light Demon radiated a divine light. If the Master of Ferocious Souls was not mistaken, this was the energy from the human realm, from the church. Ha ha ha. Master of Ferocious Souls, you still have the gall to speak as death approaches. Your death will be the sacrifice to honor his spirit. Light. As the Master of Ferocious Souls provoked her, the Light Demon, whose energy had calmed, erupted in layers of radiant light, quickly enveloping the entire desert. A supremely sacred aura, untouchable, emanated as if she were a deity from the heavens. Damn it! As the Light Demon unleashed her power, the dark, eerie energy surrounding the Master of Ferocious Souls rapidly diminished. Even evil Xiao, whose energy had been weakened, found his strength quickly eroded. The suppression of their powers by the light-based Do Chi was stronger than ever before. Light Demon, Is she truly the master's wife? Lady, the master has not perished. Please do not do anything foolish. Seeing the enraged light demon, the black fiend dragon wolf could only defend for now. If he faced the overwhelming fluctuations head-on, he would likely be gravely injured in an instant. When the monster emperor was sealed by the three realms, the monster realm had publicly announced his demise to prevent anyone from taking advantage. However, little did they know, this message reached the light demon, and for reasons unknown, it triggered a drastic change in her nature. Originally, she was just a high-ranking member of the church in the human realm. After secretly marrying the monster emperor, they parted ways to resolve their respective factions' grievances, agreeing to reunite at a later date. At that time, neither knew each other's true identities. Sadly, just after their separation, the monster emperor was sealed. This high-ranking member of the church, through some special means, discovered the scene of the monster emperor being sealed by the three realms' overlords. Enraged, she sought revenge and fell into the abyss of darkness, transforming into the true light demon. But the light demon was kept in the dark from the very beginning, and thus made mistake after mistake. She didn't know that the monster emperor, said to be immortal and indestructible, had not truly fallen, even when jointly erased by the three realms' overlords. Sadly, she was unaware of this fact. At this moment, a blinding light descended, and an overwhelming divine aura filled the air, as if the gods themselves were punishing a sinner. The power of the light demon was magnified to an unimaginable degree, and subtly, she seemed to be on the verge of touching the cycle of reincarnation. Countless rays of light surged forth, wrapping around the light demon. The pure white light transformed into white robes, cloaking her and giving off an aura of divinity, solemnity, and invulnerability. Holy light armor? How is this possible? The master of ferocious souls couldn't help but exclaim as he watched the light demon surrounded by the white robes. The holy light armor wasn't just a form of weaponry, it was a full set of armor. Once worn, it drastically enhanced one's strength. Although the light demon might not have reached the realm of reincarnation, still only an 8-star Do Xian, with the holy light armor now enveloping her, it slowly transformed into a white armor, wrapped in ancient runes. The white armor, formed from the robes, was holy and pure. As she breathed, the light demon's aura was pushed to its peak. Half reincarnation. Moments later, atop the dust storm, a pair of milky white wings slowly unfurled. The slender figure, clad in white armor, stood out against the desert, dispelling all the ominous energy. She radiated with the brilliance of the sun itself. The light demon in half reincarnation. You bastard! The master of ferocious souls could only mutter in fear, holy incantations filling the air. After a moment, countless pure white halos erupted, illuminating the entire desert. Even the elements and energies of the desert bowed and quieted, as if welcoming a true goddess of light. Damn it, damn it. Light demon, stop. Are you trying to destroy this place? As the holy energy grew denser and more dazzling, the master of ferocious souls' ethereal body trembled uncontrollably. Even if he had touched reincarnation, if the light demon unleashed this terrifying power, the only outcome for him would be annihilation. Ha ha ha. Ferocious soul, when you and the other three realms experts erased him, did you ever show mercy? Now, I will make you taste the agony of 1,000 lights devouring your soul, though even this pain doesn't compare to 1/10,000th of what he suffered back then. Today, you will die for sure. The light demon laughed as she saw the terror on the master of ferocious soul's face. Since learning of the monster emperor's true fall, she had forsaken her position in the high ranks of the church, abandoning her revered status as the goddess of light to become the light demon despised by the great thousand worlds. Who could understand the countless pains and tortures she endured? But none of that mattered anymore. As long as she could annihilate the master of ferocious souls and avenge him, she would fear nothing, even if it meant her own destruction. Today, the light demon came with the resolve to die and take the master of ferocious souls down with her. Light demon, the monster emperor didn't die. Today, you've made such a huge move. If the monster emperor finds out, he will surely pity you. At that time, you two will truly be separated, one in heaven and the other on earth. Besides, my ferocious soul domain is not a place for your extraterritorial evil clan to run wild. The master of ferocious souls gritted his teeth, forcing himself to suppress his rage as he roared. Didn't die? I saw it with my own eyes, heard it with my own ears. How could it be false? Now, in the name of the God of light, I will give you a final judgment. Go to hell, carrying all your regrets. You should never have, under any circumstances, provoked him, nor should you have allied with other experts from the two realms to erase him. Forbidden art of light. Holy light demon judgment sword. The high-pitched incantation rang out fiercely, as if purifying the evil of the world. It echoed throughout the desert, and in an instant, the light demon's white armor shimmered with ancient pale runes, as if alive, slowly pulsating, outlining the entire desert. Even the other powerful beings felt as insignificant as ants before this force. Mad woman. Seeing the light demon in a frenzy, ready to unleash her forbidden art, the master of ferocious soul's expression grew grim. Forbidden art. The two words, small as they were, carried immense power, a power only the church possessed. The so-called forbidden art was as powerful as the top-tier celestial arts of the great thousand worlds, with no distinction between the two in the church. Once the forbidden technique is invoked, the land for 1,000 miles will turn to nothingness. Within 100 years, not even a blade of grass will grow, and it will become an uninhabitable wasteland for any living creature. It can be said without hesitation that a forbidden technique ranks as the most powerful battle skill beneath divine techniques. Such a forbidden technique can only be unleashed by the most powerful figures within the church. Sigh. Looking at the light demon, who was enraged by the master of ferocious souls' provoking words, Black Fiend Dragon Wolf couldn't help but clench his fist tightly. He was loyal to the monster emperor, and his life had been granted by the emperor. Today, no matter what, he must protect Xiao and the light demon, even at the cost of his own life. But to reveal the truth, it could only happen after this forbidden technique was fully unleashed. Once the forbidden technique begins, it cannot be stopped unless the caster chooses to perish. Light Element Forbidden Technique, the strongest single-target attack. Holy Light Demon Judgment Sword, said the evil Xiao, controlling his body as he approached Black Fiend Dragon Wolf. The dark holy armor on his back emitted powerful waves, protecting the three of them. Even Xiao Sansheng could do nothing in the face of this. All they could do now was wait for the forbidden technique to unfold. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Looking at the light demon's power rising steadily, reaching the level of a half-reincarnation expert in such a short time, the master of ferocious souls couldn't help but curse aloud as he saw the enormous amber-colored divine sword forming above the demon's head, growing to 100 meters in length. If the light demon fully unleashes the forbidden technique, this place will likely turn into ruins, unable to recover for centuries or even millennia. And this is the very heart of the ferocious soul domain, the base of the master of ferocious souls. Such a result would be equivalent to his own lair being destroyed, and him having to endure it silently. Who wouldn't be enraged by such a fate? Light demon, you're forcing my hand, the master of ferocious souls said, his expression changing as he looked at the light demon's display of power. His face, once filled with fear, gradually turned cold and then twisted into madness. Amidst this madness was a trace of disdain, as if the light demon's attack posed no real threat. A moment later, his pupils turned an unusual shade of pink. He no longer gazed at the light demon, for he knew that with his current strength, he could not shake the demon's resolve. His mouth twisted into a crazed smile. 10,000 souls technique, he muttered softly. In the heart of the desert, countless yellow sands swirled and formed armored sand soldiers, standing solemnly around the master of ferocious souls. This is bad. At this moment, Xiao, hidden within the soul sea, suddenly sensed something and gasped. What's wrong? Xiao Sansheng, who had been recovering his strength since the appearance of the light demon, asked Xiao, who was within the Douqi Sea. He He can't possibly be trying to devour the heartbreak flame, can he? A mad thought spread through Xiao Yan's mind. Hold it! With another roar, the pink flame that had been quietly floating above the master of Ferocious Soul's hand was immediately absorbed into his own soul body. This was the master of Ferocious Souls attempting to devour the heartbreak flame directly? This is bad. This guy is really trying to devour the heartbreak flame. Seeing this, Xiao Yan, within the Doqi Sea, exclaimed in alarm. He knew that the heartbreak flame was a mysterious and powerful sacred flame, and with the master of Ferocious Soul's method, once it was devoured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Sigh, there really is no solution. At this moment, Xun'er slightly shook her head, clearly helpless. Now, the master of Ferocious Souls had mastered the method to devour sacred flames using his soul body. Even the restraint method that the Soul Hall took pride in had been completely cracked. Xun'er had long wondered why the master of Ferocious Souls hadn't devoured the sacred flame earlier. It turned out he had been waiting for the right moment. If the master of Ferocious Souls took over Xiao Yan's body, the effect of devouring the heartbreak flame would be far greater. The current soul body devouring was nothing compared to the perfection of devouring it within a human body. At this moment, the master of Ferocious Souls had truly entered the half-reincarnation realm. Once he devoured the heartbreak flame and reached true reincarnation, even the light demon's forbidden technique would be unable to cause significant harm. Even Xiao Sanxing and the light demon, both in the half-reincarnation stage, would stand no chance against the master of Ferocious Souls. Reincarnation, half-reincarnation. A single word made all the difference, but the gap between them was as vast as the heavens and the earth. Moreover, the most crucial point was that once the master of Ferocious Souls succeeded in devouring the heartbreak flame, he would be reborn from his soul body, which could not form a human vessel, into a true human being. Boom. The casting of forbidden arts requires considerable time, and during this period, the light demon, protected by the holy light armor, radiates an aura like that of a goddess of light. Unless a reincarnation-level powerhouse intervenes, no one can disturb her or disrupt the casting. At the same time, the master of Ferocious Souls, having devoured the lovesickness heartbreak flame, is completely enveloped by a pink energy ripple, sealing her entire being. The domain power that accompanies the lovesickness heartbreak flame. Moments later, the master of Ferocious Souls is fully engulfed by the pink flames in the surrounding void, clearly entering the domain to devour the lovesickness heartbreak flame. The power of this domain makes it impossible to probe or breach. At this moment, the sky is filled with a surge of supreme light energy, and at the same time, a scene of swirling pink flames in the void seems to be brewing some sort of immense power. However, both are surrounded by a terrifying force, one that shakes the heavens and earth, making anyone who gazes upon them tremble in fear. Without a doubt, whoever succeeds first in this battle will shatter the current situation completely. I didn't want it to be this way, but unfortunately, I had no choice. Although this will cause complications for my future plans, listen up, boy. Your body and the things within it were specially crafted for me. You can't die. Just as the master of Ferocious Souls entered the pink flame void, a soul transmission surged into Xiao Yan's Doqi Sea, causing his soul to tremble. It was clearly the final message left by the master of Ferocious Souls. From the harsh tone of the voice, Xiao Yan could tell that the master of Ferocious Souls was confident about entering reincarnation. Sigh. After a moment, everything fell silent again. However, Xiao Yan and his companions exchanged dark glances, clearly not expecting this turn of events. If the light demon had not intervened, the master of Ferocious Souls would have already been defeated by now. We need to leave now. After a few breaths, Xiao Yan spoke in a low voice, his tone grave. Upon reaching the half-reincarnation level, he finally understood the current situation. He had originally resided within the Xiao clan's clan mark and, by chance, entered Xiao Yan's body. Now that he had finally been awakened by Xiao Yan, the recent battle had consumed too much of his power. At this moment, his strength was probably only at the 8-star Do Xian level. If the light demon or the master of Ferocious Souls acted now, the cost would be heavy. Moreover, only Xiao Yin had awakened him from the 10 halls of Yama, and neither of them could die. The other 9 powerhouses still needed to be awakened. I can't leave. I must take the light demon back, because she is my master's wife. If this misunderstanding isn't cleared up, I'll be ashamed to face my master. The Black Fiend Dragon Wolf smiled nonchalantly. Death did not scare him at all, and the battle intent in his eyes burned brightly. I'm not leaving either. Xun'er shook his head slightly. He naturally wanted to stay until the very end. If the Master of Ferocious Souls broke through to reincarnation, with her fierce nature, only self-destruction would stop her. He wanted to see with his own eyes whether the Master of Ferocious Souls would be reborn or fall. Sigh. Take care of my body. I'll rest for a while. Xiao Sanxing shook his head and then resided in Xiao Yan's soul sea, relinquishing control of the body back to Xiao Yan. Can the Master of Ferocious Souls really absorb the sacred flame without any side effects? Xiao Yan, having regained control of the body, clenched his fists and asked in a low voice. No side effects. If there were any, the weakness he showed earlier would be considered the after-effects. Unfortunately, the Master of Ferocious Souls is inherently cautious, so there's nothing we can do now. Xun'er waved his hand helplessly. Senior, thanks for what you did earlier. Hearing Xun'er's words, Xiao Yin nodded with gratitude and then turned his gaze to the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf. Heh, I almost forgot the main issue. I came out of the monster realm to find you. If there's time after the ghost realm, I hope you'll return with me. The Black Fiend Dragon Wolf scratched his head and grinned. No problem. Xiao Yin nodded with a smile. In fact, Xiao Yin vaguely felt that his trip to the monster realm was somehow related to the so-called Monster Emperor. Next, we wait quietly. After their conversation, Xun'er spoke softly. Perhaps it won't be so simple. Am I right? The Master of the Western Divine Palace. After a moment, Xiao Yin gave a confident smile and turned his gaze to the golden yellow sand in the center of the desert. Crack! With a sound, the yellow sand in the depths of the desert began to shake, and a dark spatial gate suddenly appeared above the sand. Ha ha ha, such keen senses. No wonder the Master of Ferocious Souls specifically warned about you. As Xiao Yan's voice fell, hundreds of shadowy figures like worms poured out from the spatial gate above the desert. Master of the Western Divine Palace, Feng Hao. Leader of the Ferocious Soul Guards, Hua Xiao. The Master of Ferocious Souls has truly made thorough preparations for this path of reincarnation. Looking at the hundreds of strong figures before him, the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf suddenly laughed, and the overwhelming demonic aura spread out into the sky. He knew clearly that these hundreds of shadows were all elites from the Divine Hall, their strength almost reaching the 6-star Do Xian level, and there were even 4 of them at the 8-star Do Xian level. By the command of the Master of Ferocious Souls, capture the number 1 wanted criminal of the Ferocious Soul domain, Xiao Yin. Anyone who tries to stop us, kill without mercy. The 100 powerful figures lined up, and then Feng Hao's expression twisted. A sinister smile, filled with certainty of victory, spread across his face. At this moment, with only a mid-stage 8-star Do Xian Black Fiend Dragon Wolf and Xun'er, who was at the early stage of 8-star Do Xian, alongside Xiao Yin, whose strength was only at the 5-star Do Xian level, how could they cope with the elites of the Western Divine Palace and the Ferocious Soul Guards? After all, there were 4 8-star Do Xian experts. As for the 2 voids above the desert, they were constantly shifting. Once the transformation was complete, this place would likely evolve into a true hell. Xiao Yin, had you known it would come to this, why did you even bother? Feng Hao stood on the desert ground, yellow sand swirling around, with thunderous power surging behind him. He laughed. This time, even if Xiao Yin had wings, he would not be able to fly. I expected this. Xiao Yin was not surprised, smiling slightly. He understood his situation. It seemed that this scenario had been destined since he first entered the undying sacred pool, but in order to resurrect Mu Yingying, Xiao Yin had to obtain the lovesickness heartbreak flame. Therefore, no matter the dangers, he had to come. Moreover, Xiao Yin did not know that his senior sister, Xun'er, had already sensed the Master of Ferocious Soul's scheme and had left a backup plan. Xiao Yin was simply unaware of it. Since you already know, then surrender. Feng Hao laughed. The numerous sacred flames on Xiao Yan's body had been personally promised to him by the master of ferocious souls. He had even been given the method to absorb sacred flames into his soul body. All of this had already captured their hearts, turning them into willing pawns. Come on. Xiao Yin smiled, his gaze turning sharp. Even if it meant certain death, Xiao Yin would not give up fighting. His bloodline from the Xiao clan, and the warrior spirit deep within his soul, would not allow him to surrender. Little guy, the situation is unpredictable now. I will lend you some of my power. It will allow you to briefly possess the strength of an early-stage 8-star Do Xian. After that, it's up to you. I must recover my strength. I have a feeling that the master of ferocious souls will soon make a big move. After a deep breath, Xiao Xinsheng's voice, filled with righteous determination, echoed from within Xiao Yan's soul sea. If the master of ferocious souls truly broke through the reincarnation cycle, what awaited them would be total destruction. Therefore, Xiao Xinsheng must recover his strength before the master of ferocious souls could devour the lovesickness heartbreak flame. Perhaps he could use some terrifying methods, relying on time to protect himself. Protecting Xiao Yin meant protecting himself, because the other 9 Yama Kings were tied to Xiao Yan's clan totem. Once Xiao Yin was captured by the master of ferocious souls, the Xiao clan would never have a chance of rising again. As one of the 10 kings of Yama's 5th hall, Xiao Xinsheng must prevent such an outcome. Thank you, Senior. These are all pills I have stored. Senior, please don't refuse. In an instant, Xiao Yin pushed the imperial flame ring towards Xiao Xinsheng, this item left behind by the ancient Emperor Tuo Shi Gu Di. It should hold some secret way to break the situation, but Xiao Yan's strength was too weak, though Xiao Xinsheng might have a solution. This is the imperial flame ring? Good boy. Now let's go. A voice filled with joy erupted, and immediately after, the black-patterned sacred robe fell from behind Xiao Xinsheng, floating out of his soul sea, heading towards Xiao Yin. Meanwhile, the imperial flame ring was also absorbed into the soul sea. At that moment, Xiao Xinsheng fixed his gaze on the imperial flame ring, slowly uncovering its secrets. A supreme item with dark attributes. His palm rubbed together as he touched this sacred weapon from the netherworld. Xiao Yin slowly smiled, sensing the immense power contained within the black-patterned sacred robe. This is bad. Hua Xiao, stop him. Don't let him wear that evil robe. Seeing the evil robe suddenly appear in Xiao Yan's hands, Feng Hao's face twitched violently. Though he hadn't witnessed the battle between the master of ferocious souls and Xiao Xinsheng, he could sense a real threat from the robe with his own 8-star Do Xian power. For something to put immense pressure on an 8-star Do Xian mid-stage like him, it was clear the evil robe was extraordinary. Ha ha ha. Let me have a little chat with the leader of the ferocious soul guards. Just as Hua Xiao's armor hummed and he was about to act, Yuer's figure floated up, instantly enveloping Hua Xiao. Guardians, stop him. Seeing that Hua Xiao had been temporarily held back, Feng Hao roared again. Instantly, the remaining 2 early-stage 8-star Do Xian around him also let out a fierce roar, raising their palms and shooting toward Xiao Yin. The terrifying aura that accompanied their power seemed to shatter the very void of the desert. Bang! 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 The seemingly powerful attacks were completely blocked by a surge of dark green demonic energy. Leave those 2 to me. The Black Fiend Dragon Wolf intercepted the devastating strike and then turned to Xiao Yin, smiling. Let me deal with this bastard, Xiao Yin said slowly, noticing the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf and Yuer fighting desperately. He then looked at the 2 areas of void around him, where the brewing of forbidden techniques and the rising presence of pink flames in the air once again intensified. It really was an oversight. But even with such a wicked artifact, you won't escape your doom today. Feng Hao roared, seeing his 8-star Do Xian allies entangled. Meanwhile, other experts from the Western Divine Palace and the ferocious soul guards stood vigilantly around the desert, ensuring every inch of the area was protected. A battle between 8-star Do Xian was something that even the 6-star Do Xian and a few 7-star Do Xian couldn't intervene in. However, should the situation change in any of the 3 battle zones, These elite warriors would become the executioners, ready to finish off any loser. Black patterned sacred robe. Activate. Seeing the current situation, Xiao showed no hesitation. He bit his lip hard and raised his index finger to the sky. A drop of crimson blood fell from his fingertip and landed on the black-patterned sacred robe. Drip, drip, drip. The sound echoed, sending shivers down the spine. The robe, resembling a black cloak, seemed to be drawn by a special force. In a brief moment, it transformed into swirling black liquid, rapidly dissolving into Xiao body, enveloping him. At the same time, Xiao power surged. 5-star Do Xian, 6-star Do Xian. In just a few breaths, it reached early stage 8-star Do Xian and then gradually slowed to a stop. Humph! Even with the help of that wicked artifact, you only reached early stage 8-star Do Xian. Your strength is still as useless as a chicken's neck, even if you do reach 8-star Do Xian. So what? My own mastery over 8-star Do Xian, which has been honed for a century, along with my understanding of battle techniques, far exceeds what a little brat like you can match. A clown is still a clown, no matter how much he wiggles. He can never shake the heavens. After all, he's just a clown, Feng Hao said, grinning as he watched Xiao, cloaked in the evil black robe, look like a true warrior. But so what? Appearances were deceiving. His next strike would tear through that illusion. Not necessarily. Xiao eyes turned icy as he sneered, fully aware of the current situation. Feng Hao's words were true, despite Xiao sudden surge to early stage 8-star Do Xian with the help of Xiao Sanxing. The gap between him and Feng Hao, who was at mid 8-star Do Xian, was enormous. Whether it was controlling battle power or the strength of their techniques, Xiao was clearly at a disadvantage. But Xiao also knew his own strengths. Because Feng Hao had forgotten one thing. Xiao was the master of the sacred flame. And that terrifying sacred flame wasn't just 1, but 3, or even 4. In the past, Xiao had been hesitant and never truly merged the sacred flame. Nor had he unleashed his full power with the combined sacred flame techniques. The sacred flame, the Buddha's wrath lotus flame. That was Xiao final and strongest trump card.